Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Mr. Wizard's Workshop, the pitfalls and pratfalls of procrastination. So each week we bring you bite-sized, instantly actionable training designed to help you significantly improve your productivity over time. In this episode, I'm going to explain how I work with my one-on-one coaching clients when they are experiencing the issue of procrastination, to define and discuss what procrastination is and what it isn't, because I think there's some confusion out there. I'm going to identify one specific cause of procrastination that even the most productive of us might experience. That is feeling overwhelmed with a particular task. I've noticed that that's the issue that most of my clients periodically face. I'm going to review and explain a powerful technique to resolve this specific cause of procrastination. I'll give you an action step that's going to help you put this technique into place for yourself. And I'm going to remind you yet again about the importance of time blocking and calendar blocking your daily calendar. Finally, I'll walk you through a real world illustration of how to take a biggish task that you're feeling some overwhelm around and break it down. This week's actionable task is for you to take one of your important goals or tasks that you just can't seem to get around to working on, because that would be an indicator that maybe you are experiencing this specific issue, and break it down into small, easy to accomplish steps. I'll show you exactly how to do this, and I'll give you a real world example. So if you're watching the save recording and have any follow-up questions, or if you struggle a little bit with this exercise, then post in YouTube and I'll try to answer the question for you and help you break it down. So I always respond to your posts. And as usual, if you know anyone that would enjoy and benefit from this video, I'd appreciate it if you shared the link with them. So why focus on the topic of procrastination for this week's episode? So the tagline for my coaching business is beat procrastination and get your shit done. Obviously, not every productivity challenge which entrepreneurs and solopreneurs face is directly tied to procrastination. So some of the workshop shows I've done, as well as other training videos in my YouTube channel that I record outside of this weekly workshop, don't refer specifically to procrastination. So I decided now would be a good time to shine the light on that subject and do a deeper dive into the causes and how to overcome procrastination, starting with a specific cause that is most common with my coaching clients. So procrastination is not the only thing that I help my one-on-one coaching clients with. There's lots of other things around productivity. And while some of my clients have identified that procrastination is definitely one of their challenges, as I've already said, not everything is about procrastination. However, part of my job as a coach is to provide an accountability partner for my clients. I am the accountability wizard, after all. So if one of my clients targets an important goal that they're planning on getting completed before our next call, and then they don't get it done, it's always a worthwhile investment of our time on the call to discuss and explore, why that is. I mean, I don't beat them up about it because shit happens. But if I get the dog ate my homework type of answer, or I just didn't feel like working on it, blah, blah, or I sense they have some resistance to actually taking action for that particular task or goal, then I put on my beat procrastination hat to work with them. Although everyone can occasionally procrastinate, chronic procrastination is an entirely different problem. According to peer-reviewed research, about 20% of Americans fall into the category of chronic procrastination. So all of my clients are successful. None of them are lazy or apathetic. None of them, I believe, fall into the chronic procrastinator category. They're all go-getters who have a vision for their business. They have a very focused annual and 5-year goals. If they don't, when we first start out, that's one of the things I work with, if they don't already have a crystal clear vision and goals in place. So as I said, I wouldn't classify any of my clients as chronic procrastinators, which is good, but everyone can fall into the pitfall of being an intermittent procrastinator. That is, for some specific task, they just can't seem to get to it or get it done. And most of the time, I think there's a particular reason why a task triggers the procrastinator response. So I'm going to discuss that trigger in today's episode and teach you a technique to counter that particular trigger. I'm also going to give you an action task assignment for this week, if you choose to accept, that you can take to practice with the technique that I'm going to teach you, and so you can add it to your productivity tool chest. That's a powerful skill, and one of the primary reasons I was so successful as an IT project manager. So I have the live attendees on mute, so please hold your questions discussion until the end, and I will allocate 10 to 15 minutes at the end for any follow-up questions or discussions. And if someone wants some help during the call, if they're struggling to break down a particular big-ish task, as I said, that's one of my superpowers. As usual, I'll edit out your questions and comments from the video if you tell me that it isn't something that you want to share. So the definition I like best is what you're seeing here: the act of delaying or deferring doing something that you should do, usually because you don't want to do it, when early action would have been preferable. So deferring action without good reason, even though there will be negative consequences. So all procrastination is delay, but not all delay is procrastination. I think this is one of the areas where there's a certain amount of confusion out there. If you put off something purposely because you think it's a good idea to delay, you're not prioritizing. For example, if you have a fishing trip scheduled in the Gulf of Mexico, but a Category 5 hurricane blows up in the Gulf, delaying that, deferring that is not procrastination. So if you are purposely deferring something, you're scheduling or prioritizing. I mean, sometimes just to feel the motivational thrill of doing it all at the last minute. I did that a few times in college, and that's probably not always the smartest thing to do, but I did it intentionally. And I dedicated several shows to discussing the importance of and techniques for prioritizing and scheduling. For example, last week's episode, Eisenhower Matrix, Take the Red Pill. I'll put a link for that show in the description below in this video. So procrastination is when you planned or felt they should have done the thing earlier and then delayed it anyway. In short, it's putting off despite expecting to be worse off. So when people procrastinate, they often delay priorities and instead focus on less important, more enjoyable, simpler tasks instead. They know they should work on a certain task, but actively choose to do something else. It's entirely different from laziness, which suggests apathy, inactivity, and an unwillingness to act. So there is no one cause of procrastination. If you Google the subject, you'll find many different lists. I mean, literally the 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, and even one list, 25 causes of procrastination. And each one purports to be the definitive list. Yikes. So I'm going to start with a general cause and then drill down to the more specific level. So procrastination usually happens when someone fears, dreads, has anxiety about the important task that's awaiting their action. To get rid of this negative feeling, at least temporarily, they procrastinate. Open up a video game, go to Pinterest, wander off to check their emails, fix lunch early, whatever. So this makes them feel good temporarily, but unfortunately, ultimately, reality is going to come back to bite them. The negative consequence of deferring the thing that they want and need to work on is going to bite them in the butt. So the specific cause of procrastination I'm going to address this week, one of the reasons that someone might be dreading or having anxiety about an important task is overwhelm. That's kind of the general term that's used. That's a feeling that something, in this case, the project goal or task, which they can't seem to get to, feels like it's too much to manage. So I do have a general observation, which is you don't have to be in the mood to do a certain task. Your emotional state doesn't have to match the task at hand. It's nice, but it's far from an absolute requirement. for getting the job done. So often, you're not going to feel like it. And the reality is it doesn't matter if you don't feel in the mood right now. This morning, I didn't feel especially in the mood to jump on and do the show per se, but hey, it's just one of the things I do every week. I made a commitment, and I showed up, and once I got going, hey, I'm in the mood now. So that sounds like I'm saying just do it, but me telling you that or telling one of my coaching clients that is not especially. It would be a very rare case where I tell one of my clients to just do it. So here is what I would say instead. Instead of focusing on feelings, that feeling of overwhelm, let's think about and plan what the next action is. Let's take that big, intimidating task and break it down into small, manageable tasks, i.e. small, easily accomplished steps. So let me say that again. Take the big, intimidating task and break it down to small, manageable tasks, easily accomplished steps. As an IT project manager for many years, this became one of my superpowers. Even if the first step is a small action in and of itself, and it should be, making a little progress, getting that starting off step done will get you in gear, make you feel better about the bigger task, and really get your momentum going. I'll walk you through a real world exercise of your action item for this week. I have a goal each Sunday to present this slide workshop. So the description of this biggish task is prepare for, conduct, record, edit, and publish. In this case, episode 13. So here is the small step breakdown. First thing I have to do is decide on a general topic. Then I do a keyword search analysis using vidIQ tool, land on a specific title that's got a high search value. Then I conduct research, both Googling and reviewing my pretty large library of business books on the specific topic. Typically, that's about an hour, and I'll start roughing out notes. And I create the first iteration of my script notes. After that, I create the first draft of the PowerPoint presentation. Then I complete the script, complete the PowerPoint presentation, actually conduct and record the show, what I'm doing now, conduct I call it first level editing, which is remove dead space and release some of the ums. Typically, that's 30 minutes. I have a tool that helps to speed up that process, Timeable. I find and download a thumbnail picture and short clips for the humorous fake commercial if I'm going to do one. I think I'm going to skip it this time because it's a pretty long episode anyway. Then I conduct the second level edit of the video. That's where I add text, sound effects, video within video, images, and transitions, and then render it. And that's typically around 3 hours. So I break that up into two 90-minute chunks. Then I upload the video to my YouTube channel, add the thumbnail, descriptions, chapters, links, the call to action, and I pin a post. That's typically about an hour. And then I promote the new video on Facebook and LinkedIn, time box that for an hour. And then I promote the new video via email, sending out to my list. The summary for what we've covered this episode. So I've explained how I work with my coaching clients that are having difficulties with procrastination, defined and discussed what procrastination is and what it isn't, identified one specific cause of procrastination that even the most productive of us might experience. That is feeling overwhelmed with a particular task. I reviewed a powerful technique to overcome this specific cause of procrastination. That is the technique of breaking the overwhelm causing tasks down into small, easily achievable steps. I gave you that action step to practice that so you can take this technique and put it in place for yourself. I reminded you again about the benefit and importance of time blocking your daily calendar. And then I walked you through a real world illustration of how to take a biggish overwhelmed task and break it down. So thanks for watching this video. I'll post the following links in the video description for this video. Remember, click on the white link with the 3 dots and more below to get to the full description. So I'll post a link to my YouTube video, episode 12, the Eisenhower Matrix, Take the Red Pill. I'll also post a link to my YouTube video, episode 3, Does calendar blocking increase your productivity? Yes, it does. If you aren't already registered for this free live workshop each Sunday and you want to learn how to level up your productivity in weekly bite-sized chunks, then you're invited to register. So each week I'll feature instantly actionable steps like the one I just went through with for you that you can take to overcome procrastination and get your shit done. And remember, just hit the link in the video description below this to register. And the link is what you're seeing right now. Thanks again, and hope to see you next week.